racism. I'm also very opposed to the racial profiling that I know has indeed taken place because it's happened to many of our family and friends.
And you guys, a lot of people are wearing Pinzone shirts. I mean, is this as much for him as it is against Joe?
Absolutely. In my opinion, I am going to vote for Pinzone because I think that Sheriff Joe has got to go. He's just plain been here too long. He's given Arizona a very bad reputation. I was born here. I was born in Maricopa County at 67 years ago, and I want to be able to travel to other states and not feel ashamed to say that I'm from Arizona. We have a terrible reputation. Every time I say I'm from Arizona, people say, oh, you're from that racist state. I don't want to be identified as being from a racist state. Or you're from that state where these people are ridiculous and they spend money ridiculously looking for birth certificates for the president. I mean, there is a misuse of our funds. The Board of Supervisors
We cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and wisdom to know the difference.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Citizens Council of Maricopa County, call to order this meeting.
We move to place a ban on all public tax dollars and private donations for birther investigation and other political investigations on the October 18th agenda.
Call for motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
And send the deputy to Hawaii.
We'll recess.
Some free $30,000 and still counting.
I second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye!
Ayes have it.
Yeah! Sheriff Joe, it's time for you to go. Sheriff Arpaio, it's time for you to go. Sheriff Arpaio, it's time for you to go. Time to go, time to go, time to go. Sheriff Arpaio, it's time for you to go. Sheriff Arpaio, it's time for you to go. Sheriff Arpaio, it's time for you to go. Time to go, time to go, time to go.
Good morning, citizens of Maricopa County. My name is Dan O'Neill. I'm a retired school teacher and I live in Gilbert. I am also the Arizona State Coordinator for Progressive Democrats of America, representing thousands of voters in the state. In reflecting back on my many years of teaching, my seventh graders were by and large pretty good critical thinkers, good at problem solving and analyzing things. When presented with the facts, they more often than not were able to find the truth, for most of them understanding objective reality, factoring out falsehoods and coming up with logical, reasoned, thoughtful conclusions they were just pretty good at it. Look, we all have the same facts, we are all looking at the same playbook. So my question to this board is, when will you rise to the level of my 11 and 12-year-old students? When will the facts about Sheriff Joe Arpaio sink in, slap you in the face, and finally land you with your feet firmly planted on the ground? When will you get that aha moment? When will you look yourself in the mirror and say to yourself, why? Why am I continuously politically bullied by this so-called public servant who has, as you know, has wasted hundreds of millions of taxpayers' dollars on lawsuits against his dysfunctional sheriff's department, who is in charge of a department that has discriminated, abused, and even killed citizens in his custody, who has spent taxpayers' dollars on trips to Hawaii to investigate the birth certificate of the President of the United States, who has failed to investigate over 400 sex crimes, and who has been a major publicity-seeking embarrassment to the people of Maricopa County. When, I ask, will you rise to the level of my smart, open-minded seventh graders?
Transparency, accountability plus responsibility equals respect. Each of you supervisors got this formula. That's why you're here. The president is a United States citizen.
Maricopa County does not have a professional lawman in charge of the sheriff's office. We have a sheriff who is corrupt, incompetent, expensive, and sadistic. And because of that, there are quite literally hundreds of people murdered, raped, robbed, and beaten. Sheriff Arpaio wastes time, money, and resources on birther nonsense, uses his office to harass his political opponents, has all-pervasive publicity stunts, and his priorities are completely askew. Sheriff Arpaio took an investigator off Sabrina Morris's rape case in order to have the investigator solicit a company that was reported to have suffered mortgage fraud. Apparently he didn't think he had enough business. The sheriff wanted them to file a complaint. I guess he felt business was slow. Subsequently, Sabrina was repeatedly raped by the identified suspect. What would your priority be? What would anybody's priority be? There are thousands of crimes simply not investigated by our sheriff, murders, rapes, and other sex crimes and thefts. The areas served by the sheriff have become sanctuaries for murderers, rapists, thieves, and other criminals, the consequences of which are revealed in the Arizona Department of Public Safety crime reports. Violent crime up 41%. Thank you.
I don't think he's serving the people. He puts advertisements on TV that he cares about animals, but he hasn't investigated sexual assaults.
These crimes consist of sex, child molestation, abuse of different kinds, and also including murder. These cases were closed. And how these people didn't come and put a lawsuit against Joe Arpaio, I have no idea. But my concern is that these lawsuits are going to continue if he is elected. Because people like myself and many others that are here will continue to focus on what he's doing. And I don't want to pay for any more lawsuits in the future.
I don't understand why we do have such a sheriff as Joe Arpaio. It's beyond me. There are so many serious reasons why Sheriff Joe Arpaio should be removed from office. His notorious antics have been a huge embarrassment to the state of Arizona.
Mr. Arpaio has created a critical and dangerous shortage of deputy sheriffs needed to perform fundamental law enforcement services in the unincorporated areas of the county, which is a disgrace.
State where your officials do ridiculous things like question the president's birthplace. The money wasted for taxpayers, the sex crimes that were ignored, the profiling, the racial profiling, which I know exists because it's happened to my friends, the countless lawsuits and all of the disrespect that this sheriff has caused in this county. We are tired of our taxpayer dollars being wasted. We are tired of being ridiculed for being from Arizona. And I urge you, because I know that I know he's an elected official and you just can't tell him you're fired, but you can absolutely control the monies that go towards these things. So I urge you to please exercise that right.
Sheriff Arpaio has lied about not spending 1 cent of taxpayer money on birther investigation. He also stole our taxpayer dollars to pay for it. He needs to pay the county back from his campaign war chest. I think this is critical to restore the public trust in our elected officials. No one is above the law, not even the sheriff. Because of that, we insist that you place on the October 10th agenda Sheriff Arpaio's unauthorized use of our taxpayer dollars to fund birther investigation and send a deputy to Hawaii, some $30,000 in counting. We also insist that you place on the October 18th agenda a ban on all public tax dollars and private donations for birther investigation and other political investigations. I just think it's critical that you restore trust in public officials. Things get really ugly when people think the law is no longer in play or that elected officials don't have to abide by the law. Everyone has to abide by the law. No one is above the law, especially a sheriff. It's particularly egregious when someone entrusted with protecting the public doesn't do his job and doesn't follow the law. Thank you.
District 3. I'm here to demand reimbursement to the county coffers all of the taxpayer dollars that Sheriff Joe has stolen from us for his political investigation into the birth certificate of President Barack Hussein Obama. Sheriff Arpaio promised the taxpayers of Maricopa County that none of our hard-earned money would be spent on that ridiculous investigation. He lied and stole more than $30,000 for that publicity stunt, while neglecting to investigate more than 400 sex crimes against women and children in El Mirage.
Cost. Our deductible, which is paid by taxpayer money, has raised from $1 million per occurrence to $5 million per occurrence for these lawsuits. That's taxpayer money, folks. It's time that we cut this man off. I'm embarrassed to say that I live in Maricopa County and that Sheriff Joe Arpaio is my sheriff.
I'm horrified that Joe Arpaio sent his investigators to Hawaii when he did not investigate the 400 cases of child sexual abuse. As a therapist who has worked with survivors of incest and rape for many years, I know the pain and lifelong suffering that is the result of these horrendous crimes. Right here in Maricopa County, Sheriff Joe Arpaio's failure to investigate these 400 cases and bring the perpetrators of sexual abuse to justice is a crime against humanity. It's a crime against the humanity of a mentally handicapped 13-year-old girl who was sexually assaulted on June the 11th, 2007. Her perpetrator was not found. Why? The crime was not investigated. It's a crime against the humanity of several girls molested in May of 2007 by their so-called stepfather. The sheriff's office was called to investigate. The crime was never investigated.
A couple of demands, and I promise it'll be quick, because I know we've taken a lot of time, we've covered a lot of territory. But if I could add, you have already. Thank you so much for that. This delegation from Sun City West, El Mirage, West Valley in general, will join members of Citizens for a Better Arizona in calling for the Board of Supervisors to place 2 issues on the October 10th agenda. 1, a ban on public dollars and private donations for any and all criminal investigations, especially when it involves a political figure. And 2, a request that Sheriff Arpaio, out of his own political contributions, pay back the more than $30,000 he used to pay for the birther investigation of President Obama. Sheriff Arpaio lied in March of this year when he said he would not use 1 penny of taxpayer money to fund the birther investigation. And in fact, that is all he has used. And without your approval. Arpaio then stole our taxpayer money to pay for the investigation, money that was never allocated by the Board of Supervisors for that purpose, and it is time for Arpaio to pay us all back and return the money to the county. And I just want to add one thing at the end of this. This is a nonpartisan issue. This isn't Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green Party, or any other. This is for the voters of Maricopa County, for the citizens of Maricopa County. He's a sheriff of Maricopa County. He's not the sheriff of the United States of America. His authority ends and begins here in Maricopa County.